Welcome to a Musical Life Mastermind. I'm your host, Hugh Sung, and I am so excited. We've got a terrific session in mind for tonight. We're going to be taking a look at tools for live streaming video. So these are special tools that enable you to stream Facebook Live videos, YouTube Live videos, using more than just your smartphone. I mean, we were all familiar with using your smartphone for streaming live videos. And I'm going to show you how you can use some desktop applications. What's really cool about this is with this desktop application we're going to talk about tonight, I can show multiple cam views. I can do some really cool effects. It is just amazing. So we're going to go over this tonight. But before we do, I want to introduce our newest member, Stacy. Hey, Stacy.
Hi. Very cool.
Lovely to have you. Welcome to a Musical Life Mastermind.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to learn.
Great. Do you want to just give a brief introduction as to who you are, what you do?
Absolutely. My name is Stacy, and I'm originally from right outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And my musical background started out as I was a dancer who learned to sing and act and really fell in love with music in college. I did singing in choir in high school, but I started taking opera lessons in college and absolutely fell in love with it. My range opened up. I discovered just the magic of this instrument. And then right after college, I started playing the guitar and started writing my own music and had an amazing career. And now I'm not as full-time professional as I once was, but I still get the opportunity to sing every now and then. And I'm really excited for the opportunities that are opening up in my life. Music and art are coming back into my life now. And so I'm just really excited to expand how much of a musical life I can have. It seems like a great fit.
And you also have a lot of expertise in social media marketing. And I know you've talked to me about some of your entrepreneurial activities too. It's very, very exciting. And what I think I'm really excited about is the fact that you'll be able to help contribute to the other members who are looking to expand their branding through social media. And of course, live video is a new important tool that's incredibly popular.
Absolutely. I actually do. Yes, I don't like to, woo, but I do have some social media expertise. I am tapped out at 5,000 friends on my personal page, and I'm transferring that expertise over to a public page and Instagram, Pinterest, all those things, YouTube. Yes, Facebook Live and live video. Instagram just started doing live video. It's where everything is going right now. And so for musicians, it's an incredible tool to be able to utilize getting your art out there and making it feel very intimate one-on-one with your viewers, with your followers, that they can feel like they're really connecting with you. Not just you as the person, but also the music that you love to give to the world. So it's a tremendous tool, and it's going to be great to see where it goes in 2017.
Well, I really appreciate that explanation. That you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I wanted to spend a few moments talking about why live streaming video is such a vital tool, and you did such a great job of describing that for us. So I really appreciate that. Are there any other? I think there's also a sense of urgency. There's a sense of immediacy, rather than just watching a video that's already been produced, that's already up there, that you can watch any time. With Facebook Live, you can watch the live video afterwards. When you see that it's happening, that, as you mentioned, it gives a sense of personal connection. Of course, people can also comment and leave little emojis and little hearts and chat with you while you're doing your live video. So and live video has actually been around for a very, very long time, but it's really Facebook that has helped it to become, because of Facebook's size and reach, they really implemented it so well to make it such an effective tool for personal connections for friends, but also for businesses when they want to connect more intimately with their audience. And every musician, and one of the things I try to do in the Musical Life Mastermind is to help musicians realize their art is a business, whether they like to think of it as that or not. And business tools that we need. If you don't tell other people who you are, nobody's going to come to your concerts, nobody's going to buy you. And Facebook Live is such a powerful way to do that. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, I would agree. The video is cutting a little bit in and out, so I'm trying to follow what you're saying, but there's such an important aspect to music and art and making money at this. That there is a business side to it. It is show business, is the business of show. And one of the things that has pained me, and as you and I have had conversations and why I'm joining the mastermind, and I want to learn so much, there's so much that artists don't know about how to make a living at what they're doing and not just scraping by. You know, my dream is that artists who have this calling and this gift to give to the world not only can make a living at it, but have a financial stability to it. And what does it take to make that happen? And so Facebook, if Facebook were a country, it would be the 3rd largest country on the planet. 1 out of every 7.
Wow, that's a fantastic.
Yeah,
Wow.
1 out of every 7 human beings alive right now is on Facebook. And so, you know, we all have goals about, you know, and they're different for everybody. But as we want to expand our careers, you know, that does involve some amount of notoriety, some amount of fame. My cat wants to get in on the conversation as well. She's like, what are you talking about? You know, there is an importance, as we become more well-known, there does become a little bit of a mystique, and the Facebook Live and live streaming video gives people that ability to connect with someone that they might put on a pedestal. I know that there's famous people and artists that I have known who I've become friends with, but in the beginning, you're just like, oh my gosh, I can like write something to you on Facebook and you can write right back to it. You know, people pay lots of money to get one-on-one coaching time with somebody, and Facebook Live can, you know, give people a taste of that and give people a value to that, that maybe then it can transfer into something that could be a revenue creating stream or a revenue source for an artist. Artists require making, you know, having multiple streams of income, not just what they make from their gigs. So I'm so excited to be part of the mastermind, and I'm so excited to learn what you have going on tonight about this Facebook Live. I'm ready with my like notepad. I got a clean notepad. I got my pen. Friday night. Let's go.
Okay. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it. So let me start off by saying, as I mentioned, you know, when Facebook Live first came out, you could only use your smartphone and the Facebook app to stream videos. And initially it came out for the iPhone. I think the Android version came out a little bit later. So you needed to use your smartphone to shoot with the smartphone camera to stream a video. Well, not long after that, people started figuring out how to use, and there have been companies that have come up with desktop applications that allow you to connect into that Facebook stream. And with the desktop's power, you can do things much more powerfully. There's so much more flexibility in terms of the things that you can do. And we're going to demonstrate that. And it's interesting, a little while ago, I was kind of researching a little bit, not with live videos. I didn't quite understand what was the appeal of it. It took me a while to kind of get my head around how it was so powerful, because I produce videos all the time, and I've done it kind of the old-fashioned traditional way, where I have set cameras, I shoot the media, but then I take that media, all those files, put them into a video production program. I use Adobe Premiere, part of the Creative Cloud suite, and then I have to manually put those video tracks, synchronize them with the audio, which is recorded separately on a microphone. I actually have a hard disk recorder. It's a Zoom H2, which is fantastic. So it records it onto a flash drive. Take that flash drive, put it into the computer, clean up the audio, synchronize the audio, and then manually, you know, cut the videos between the maybe 2 or 3 cameras that I'm using to get the different changes of scenes, changes of angles. And to be honest, I mean, it's one of the things that slowed me down so much, is that the production time after shooting the video takes so much time. I mean, a 3-minute video can take 6 hours once you assemble everything, clean it up, cut it the way you like it, and then render it. Okay. So one of the most powerful things with live video, and especially with the desktop application we're going to talk about, is the fact that I can, quote unquote, produce the video while it's happening. I can switch between scenes. I can do all the transitions, and I don't have to do it afterwards. I don't have to waste time waiting for the file to render, which is part of the production process, which can take a very, very long time. The file goes immediately to the streaming server, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, and then within a couple of minutes, it's there, and I don't have to do anything. I just shoot the video, do my transitions as the video is happening, and then it's just there. It has saved me so much time. And because it saves me so much time, it's giving me the inspiration to create a lot more content. And one of the things I had the dream of doing, because of course I'm the host of a weekly podcast called A Musical Life, and where I interview some of the world's greatest musicians. And one of the dreams I had going forward for the show early on was I wanted to eventually create live videos or some kind of a video production. I wasn't actually even thinking live back then. I was just thinking, wouldn't it be great if I could create a video version of the show and invite guests and shoot, the interview, shoot a performance, and just have that as a video supplement to the audio-only podcast. Well, now, with what I've been learning, really just these past 2 weeks, about the power and the possibility of live videos, and I've just invested in some amazing equipment, which is not that expensive, but pretty innovative. I used to, of course, I had traditional equipment, traditional stands that are very bulky, and I'd have to have several bags, my cameras, and my cables, and all that stuff. And I have some special equipment I'm going to show you guys where I can fit all my equipment into my backpack. So I'm truly mobile. In fact, I just did a test shoot at a local music school. We're getting ready, and we did the test shoot for 2 reasons. We did it for me to test out my equipment, to make sure I knew what I was doing, make sure the software was working, and then also to give the students a chance to practice being on camera. So it was a win-win for everybody involved. And it's not, the video is not public, but I may actually have it's a kind of an unlisted video on YouTube, but I may put the link in so you can see the footage that we shot. And there's bloopers all over the place. But it was great for me because I learned some of the things that I need to adjust and fix. And so when we go do the live concert, live Facebook Live video concert this coming Thursday, hopefully it'll go a lot smoother because we'll see if I've learned from my mistakes. But anyway, so let's dive right into it. So the program I'm using is something called Open Broadcaster Software. And you can, I'll put links into the forum for all the things we're talking about tonight. Open Broadcaster Software can be found, I believe, at obsproject.com. As I was starting to talk about, I was actually reviewing here in the mastermind another software. I was interested in multicam software for recording videos, video lessons. I have a multi-camera system built into my studio, and I have a hard switcher here, but frankly, the equipment is massive. I mean, I've got a big professional camera here, a huge professional stand. I've got this big bottom, you can see this, I've got this big switcher box. I can push these buttons that will manually connect to the overhead cam that's screwed into the ceiling above. Cables going everywhere. It's a huge mess. I've got lights, of course. There's no way I could carry this around with me on shoot. I mean, I could, but boy, what a headache! And so the more difficult it is, the less inclined I am to do it. I set this up as a permanent studio in my apartment. Now, what's really, really cool about what I'm doing now is I found a way to streamline the equipment so that I can, as I mentioned, I can carry it with me. The program I was reviewing originally is something called Wirecast. Wirecast is a professional level multi-camera streaming software. It was really meant for streaming, where you can stream in Skype, you can stream in YouTube, you can stream now in Facebook as well. It'll take multiple camera inputs, and then you use your computer to change the scenes on the fly. Problem is, Wirecast costs about $500. I think it's being sold through Telestream. And at the time, I didn't know of any other options. I was also exploring an interesting iPad app called Rico Live. Rico Live allows me, I was playing with that and really enjoying that for a while, testing that out over the summer. Rico Live lets me use multiple iOS devices. I can use an iPhone, and I have actually several old iPads. And I can use those as my cameras, and they're surprisingly high quality enough. And then I use another iPad. I can have up to 4 iOS devices, and I use one of the iOS devices as the master controller. And I can just simply pick which iOS device is going to be the camera and do the transitions, and I can have all different transition options there. And it'll, again, produce the video and kind of produce the video onto the iPad. It doesn't stream. So the rendering this is the process where the computer is taking all these video sources and putting it together as a final file, can take a long time. The longer the video, the longer the rendering process. Okay. So now skip forward to today. It's interesting. Just a few weeks ago, I was listening to Pat Flynn talking about kind of his favorite apps. And as they were going through the list, I heard about a lot of them, so nothing new, until they mentioned OBS, Open Broadcaster Software. I remember kind of reading about it and not paying attention to it. When they mentioned it, it's interesting, they kind of dismissed it. They were focused more on the professional level software like Wirecast. But they said, well, there's also OBS. None of them had, I don't think either of them, Pat or his guest, had really spent any time on it. But they just mentioned it because it's something that people should be aware of. So I started thinking, took a second look at it. When I found out it was open source and, did I mention free? I freaked out, tested it out, and I actually tried a Facebook Live demo. There were some problems. And one of the problems I came across, what I did is I ordered some webcams. And I can't check out, all my webcams are being used right now. But the webcams I ordered were the Logitech C920s. Okay, I got it through Amazon. I think it's at least a year or two old, but it's a professional level HD cam, which is what I'm using actually right now. I'm not using my MacBook I'm not using my MacBook cam. I'm using the Logitech. That's what I'm looking into right now. And so I was connected. I also got a USB hub. This USB hub is made by Satechi, and I just got it because I knew my MacBook Air only has 2 USB ports, and I wanted to have at least 3 cameras, so I got 3 webcams and an audio input device. I have, I can't show it on camera right now, but I have a separate M audio interface box that connects into the computer where I can plug in my regular microphones, XLR microphones. All right, so like I said, I'll put links to all the items that people are interested in the forum. Anyway, so my first mistake was getting this Satechi 4-port USB hub. See, it has these 4 USB ports. You just stick this into your USB port and it extends it so I can plug my cameras in there. Well, I did it, okay? Plug my cameras in, tried testing it out with my multicam live streaming video, and it just was not working. The cameras would freeze, okay? I would have maybe 1 camera working, and then the other 2 cameras would intermittently freeze, you know, and so my first Facebook Live demo, which I did last week, or actually earlier in the week, was a complete disaster. So I deleted that video. And I've been spending the week trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe one of the cameras was defective. Maybe one of the ports was defective. And then finally, I was able to figure out, this is a USB 2.0 port, okay, hub, USB hub. USB 2.0 only transfers data at about 400 kilobits per second. That's not a lot of information. And so what was happening, because the high-def Logitech cameras were sending so much information, they were just getting bottlenecked because this was too slow. So what I figured out was, fortunately, my MacBook Air has 2 USB 3.0 ports. So the neunnext step was to kind of figure out, all right, okay, I've got to get a faster USB output. So initially I started researching Thunderbolt port hubs, USB hubs, for my MacBook Air. There's an Elgato Thunderbolt 2, Elgato Thunderbolt 2, which goes to the Lightning port, which is a separate, different kind of, the Lightning port enables 20 megabits per second, huge speed increase. And it outputs it to USB, like I think 3 USB 3.0 ports, right? Problem is that thing costs $300. It's a pretty expensive little thing. And I went out to like 2 different stores. I went out to the Apple store. They didn't have it. It was one of those things you have to order online and then I'll have it shipped to the store for pickup there. Well, I kind of needed it the day of shooting this video. And then I went, I think, to Walmart because they had it actually advertised, and same thing. You had to order online and then it would arrive a couple of days later. Well, I needed it that day. Getting really desperate here. And then finally, of all places, I went to Staples. I called them up before I went going over, asking if they had any USB 3.0 hubs. It happened so that they did. It cost $30. How cool is that? Giving me 4 USB 3.0 extensions. And the cool thing is it comes out of, it plugs into any standard USB 3.0 port, which means it works with Mac or Windows, because Windows don't have the Lightning ports that the Mac, that's exclusive to MacBooks. So this cheap little $30 USB hub, it has really basically saved my multicam production. It's really amazing. So that's one of the hardware bits that's really critical. If you're going to be streaming multiple cams, you need to make sure that your computer, number one, is fast enough. So you want to try to make sure you have a recent computer. At least my computer is about 2 years old, so it was still relatively fast. The other thing is to make sure that your connector is fast, your connection is fast enough. So ideally, at least a USB 3.0 port, and make sure whatever hub or USB hub you get is USB 3.0 compatible, and the output also outputs at a USB 3.0 speed, which is about 5 megabits per second. The other cool piece of equipment I got is this. This was made by my old company, AirTurn. I used to, for those of you who know me, I was the co-founder of AirTurn. We initially made wireless page-turning pedals. And I'm not with the company anymore, but right before I left, I knew we were in development of these really cool mic stands. Look at this. Look how small this thing is. Well, I can extend the feet. I can extend the top. It goes even further. This becomes a full-size, oops, as I'm breaking my thing. This becomes a full-size mic stand that can collapse and fit into my backpack. Well, what does a mic stand have to do with webcams? Well, I can put a microphone on top of it, or I can put this little device here. I found this on Amazon. Really, really cool. I remember one of my mastermind members was asking about something like this, how they could mount their webcams. And this is a little doohickey. I can't even remember what the name of it is. I'll try to find it on Amazon and put a link to it. But look at this little thing. This is something that connects to a mic stand. It's got a mic thread, but the top of it has the video camera thread that I can screw in. And look at this. It's a 360-degree rotatable thing, so I can really get this at almost any angle. By the way, with the AirTurn, by the way, this stand over here, this is the AirTurn Go stand, only available through the AirTurn website. And again, I'll put a link in to this stand as well. Best investment. I love this thing. It's amazing how I can fit 3 of these things in my backpack. Now, what I can't show you right now is the fact that there's also a boom stand. Okay, and that's how I'm able to get this overhead camera. You're going to be seeing all the views in just a bit as I demonstrate the software. So on top of this full-size mic stand, which gets pretty high, I can put a boom stand for an overhead shot of my keyboard. I don't have to mount anything on the ceiling. The boom stand, again, collapses, and the portability gets me so excited. And again, you put one of these doohickeys on. The Logitech C920 web cameras have a video camera thread. Okay, so you're all set. However, and I also got 16-foot USB cord extenders. Okay, so the Logitech cord is not that long, so I needed to make sure that if I wanted my cameras really spaced out wide in a particular area, that I'd have the room to do so. So that's kind of an overview of the hardware. Logitech C920 webcams, HD webcams, AirTurn Go stands, AirTurn boom stand that goes onto a mic stand. Now, let's get into the software. Let's talk a little bit about open broadcast software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just switch my screen. Let's go ahead and let me go into the program. And let me see if I can find it here and share this screen with you. All right, here we go. So now we're in OBS. And you can probably see my camera here, okay, same camera. But take a look at this. I'm going to start on a black screen here, and I can quickly switch scenes. This is an intro video that I had made in Fiverr. And then it's a great little way to kind of preview. And then I switch my camera down, and boom, here's my front camera. Yeah, well, big deal. Well, look at this. Wow, what's going on here? Well, I'm showing my music. Now get this. So here, let me explain what's going on. I've got an iPad, reading my music, okay? And the iPad is wirelessly connecting to my computer through an application called Reflector 2, okay? And then within OBS, and this is, by the way, this is OBS Studio. Don't get the classic version, get OBS Studio. This is the version you want now. For Mac or Windows. And if any of you are using Linux, you can use it for Linux too. But I can overlay multiple media sources, cameras, applications, pictures. As you can see, there's the Musical Live, this little bottom thing here. That's just a transparent PNG that I can put into the program. But you know, I can show my iPad to you. So I'm teaching, I want to explain the music. Zoom in over here. How cool is this? And let's go ahead and just do a demonstration of marking on my music. I can make markings here. Let's see, I think is it freezing up a little bit? Oh, you know what? My reflector program is freezing. I'm sorry. So bad on reflector. Anyway, trust me. Anything you see in my iPad, you can see on the screen. So I'm sorry, this portion is not working. It's not OBS's fault. It's reflector, I think. So anyway. But how cool is this? Okay, so then I can change the, now here's the overhead cam. But take a look at this. It's not just an overhead cam. You can see there's a little bit of delay here, and that's something I'm going to talk about in just a second. But look at this overhead cam. So what you're seeing here is the camera that's on the boom stand, but you're also seeing, and hopefully it'll show up in just a minute, you're also seeing a pedal cam. Let's see if I can get my, oh, the pedal cam is frozen. I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this whole scene setup for you so you can see how this works. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to create a new profile in the menu here. Let's create a new profile and call this AML Mastermind Demo. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all of these. Take a look. There's several different panels here. You have scenes, sources, mixer, scene transitions. I'm going to go ahead and start deleting these scenes so we can start from scratch again. And re-add all of these sources. You can see exactly how I put everything together, okay? Now I'm going to just leave this as a black screen. So the first thing you're going to do in this scene is use this plus button to add a new scene. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just name this as AML Intro. Give it any name you want. Now in the sources, click on the plus here. And now I'm going to add in a media source, okay? Create new. All right, you can give it any name you want. I'm not going to bother giving it, and I'm going to start browsing around to look for a specific file that I want to add on. Here's the Live Mastermind here, and this is an intro video. It's an MP4 file. Add that in, okay, and there you go. That's my intro file. Now take a look at this. It's a little off balance here because the resolution is not the same. So what I can do is I can click, drag, and recenter it any way I like. Right? But I'll be able to show this a little bit more in depth in the next scene I create. Let's go back to the scenes area. Click on the plus. We're going to call this front cam. Right? Now click on the plus in the sources. Now we're going to take a look at video capture device. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Now here I can start selecting cams. I think it's cam 3. Let's see that. That's it. Cam 3. And here you can change your resolutions if you want. I'm going to leave it at this resolution for right now. As you can see, my cam is not quite as large as the canvas. So again, here I can demonstrate this better. I can click, drag the corner out, and resize it. And I can move it around. So how cool is this? All right, so I can center my view. Now let's add the transparent overlay. So I like having a title so everybody knows, you know, this, who I am. Click on plus again. Now we're going to go to image. All right, create new. I'm going to call this AML overlay. You can give these any names you want. All right, let's go ahead and browse and look for this image. And I've got this overlay PNG. So again, it's a transparent PNG file. Okay, there you go. And again, it's not quite sized correctly, so I'm going to move it over here and then get it to the middle there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and create a new scene. I'm going to go back to the front cam. I'm going to do something interesting. I'm going to right-click on it. I'm going to duplicate it. Why am I duplicating it? It's because I want to keep that overlay, and I don't have to manually adjust that again. So, but I can very easily change the camera. So I'm going to call this overhead. Actually, let's call this let's call this overhead cam. No, let's go front cam with music. And I might have to restart my reflector program. In fact, let me just go ahead and do that now. Let me just go ahead and see if I can fix this. I'm going to restart reflector. So please forgive me. Give me a second to do this, because I think this is important to show how this is working. Let me start reflector again. Let's cross my fingers, hope this works. Reflector 2. Let's go ahead, and with reflector 2, we have to share the same Wi-Fi network. I'm going to go ahead and use AirPlay, get that. Okay, so now it's working. I know you can't see it because we're focused on OBS, but I'll show this to you in just a second. Very, very cool. So, same view. Right now, we're going to add something to overlay on top of it. Let's go ahead and hit plus again in the sources. And this time, I'm going to go window capture. All right, this is going to be reflective. Oops. Click on the window here, this drop-down menu. Now I can start looking for the program. Do you see Reflector 2 iPad? That's the program I want to show as the overlay. And there you go. So here's my iPad. And you can see I'm using AirPlay on the iPad to connect to the app Reflector to show my music. Very, very cool. Yay, now it's working. Now, it looks like an iPad, which is fine, but you know, I don't know, I don't want to see an iPad. I just want to see the music. Well, guess what? You can crop all of your sources. Now, this took me a little while to figure out, because there's no, one of the only problems sometimes with open source software is that the program is free, it's amazing, but to figure out how to do it, you've got to watch a lot of tutorials. You got to hunt down the information. There's no real clear documentation. There probably is, but I didn't bother to read it. So here's what you do. Watch this. I'm going to use, on a Windows computer, you use the Alt key, hold that down, and click and drag any of these control buttons here. On the Mac, click and hold the Option button. And you'll see the Alt in the upper left-hand corner of the key. I'm holding this down, click, drag. You notice the line has just turned green. How about that? Instant crop. Click the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac, click and drag a control point. Now I'm just cropping this little baby out. Here we go, do this again. Now I don't have to see the iPad kind of image. Click the Alt or Option key, click and drag. Now I've got music. How cool is this? Now, let's go ahead and resize. I want to make it a little bit bigger so we can actually see the notes, right? It's a little small. There we go. This looks a lot better. Wait a minute, we got a problem here. It's, you know, it's covering the overlay. That's the whole point of the overlay, is to be over all the sources. Here's what you do. Go into the sources, and now I'm going to take the reflector line, drag that down underneath the overlay. So the key thing to remember with layers is that whatever's on top will appear on top. And if you want something to be underneath that, you just move it to its appropriate position. So for example, if I move the reflector underneath the video capture device, you won't see it anymore. Right? So I need to have the video capture device on the very bottom so that the music shows up on top. Will this work now? Yay! See, now I can zoom, I can draw, demonstrate the music, and say funny things. Yay! I'm not very good at drawing with my left hand. Is this cool or what? Oh my goodness. And so I can play, show my music, show my markings. It's incredible. Turn the page. Of course, if I have my air turn, I turn my pages hands-free. So that's a scene with an overlay showing another application streamed from my iPad. So I guess it sounds complicated, but once you do this, it's really not that bad, okay? All right, so now let's get the other cams going, right? Going back to scenes, and again, I'm going to take this front cam and duplicate this. Right-click, duplicate. And again, the only reason is because I want to keep the overlay consistent. I don't have to manually adjust it, so that when I change scenes, the overlay looks absolutely pristine. Okay, so let's go on. I'm going to call this overhead. Okay, so we have the same things. Now I'm going to go to the video capture device, and now I'm going to click on this little sprocket. Those are going to be the properties for that particular. Again, it's critical that you choose the source that you want to change the properties for. Clicking on video capture device, click on settings, and now I can change the cam that I'm going to use. Let's see, is it cam number 2? Yep, cam number 2. There we go. All right, very, very cool. Now, let's go ahead and add the pedal cam. Remember I showed you the pedal cam? And hopefully it'll work this time. So let's add one more video capture device. Okay. And I think this is cam number 3. No, this is this cam. There we go. There's my foot. Yay. Okay, now you can see it's pretty big, right? Now we're going to do the same thing that we did to the application. I'm going to use my Alt key, click and drag. Get that over here. Alt key, click and drag. Alt key, click and drag. And then, you can also Alt key, click and drag. Let's go ahead and just make this a little bit more streamlined. Click, drag. You can move this around. Click, drag, and resize it so you can actually see the keys. Oops, sorry. And do that. Now, look at this. How cool is that? So you can see my fingers. I have to get my head out of the way a little bit. You can see my pedaling, yeah, all simultaneous. Very, very cool. Now, there's one more thing. You probably are noticing that the video is probably behind what you're hearing through this Google Hangout chat. This is a problem. This is a real problem with streaming video. So several of the streaming video tests that I've done, the video, you'd see my mouth move, and then the words would come later. You'd see somebody play, but then the audio would be, there would be what we call a lag or delay between the audio and the video. And for the longest time, I couldn't find the setting to change this. I finally figured it out. You go into the top menu, okay? And so you look for a top menu, look for the edit option. When you go to edit, let's see if it'll actually show. You want to go and look for advanced audio properties. Actually, I'm not sure this is showing that. Let's see if it'll show. Anyway, can you see that, Stacy?
No.
Not showing that. So let me do this. I'm going to just change this screen share. Let's just show, I'm going to show the whole screen. So let's do the entire screen. Okay, then maybe this be better this way. Okay, so sorry, little kind of psychedelic view here. Okay, here we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edit up here. You can see that?
Yes, because there's been things that you've shown, but you're describing it, but we only saw that one window. We didn't see the whole screen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Shall we?
Okay.
Shall we do it again? What do you think?
No, I think your descriptions were very descriptive enough.
Okay.
I think now, because I didn't realize that it wasn't like the whole screen.
You know what? Let's just do this real fast. Why not? It's because it's so easy to do. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start from here. We'll just do the front cam thing.
Okay.
Okay. And video capture device. So, okay, really quickly, again, you have the scenes block over here, all right? And then you have the sources over here. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and get rid of this source over here. I'm going to add a source by clicking this plus button. Video capture device.
Yeah, we didn't see those windows pop up.
Oh, you should have said something.
I didn't realize that wasn't what we were supposed to be seeing.
Okay. So here we go. And I think this is webcam 3. There we go. Okay. And there we go. We have webcam 3. And as you can see, this is not the right size. So I'm going to resize this. All right. Get the middle there. And as you can see, it's already covering the overlay. So what I want to do is have this go underneath that. Okay. And as I mentioned, let's just actually do this again and get rid of this. Let's add the video here, go over here, click on image. We're going to add text description overlay. All right, and then browse for that. Here's my overlay over here.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
And by default, new things will appear on top. I resize it, move it around. There you go. Okay. And the same thing, so for adding the media file here, I just did the same thing except use media source and found that video file. Here's front cam. I'm going to right click on this, duplicate it, okay? And we're going to do front cam with music. All right, so now we're going to do, we have the same thing. It's duplicated from the front cam. Now we're going to add another source. And this is going to be window capture. All right, and this is going to be reflector. And now click over here, drag down, you see the reflector 2 iPad here. That's the application that I want to show on the screen. All right, so take a look at this. So we've got the application here. Alt key hold, click, drag, and I get rid of the kind of the border here. Click, drag, Alt, and holding the Alt key down, dragging down these control circles here. Alt key, hold, click, drag. There you go. Now I've got my music. Now let's resize. Notice I clicked on it, and this red rectangle appeared. That means I selected the overlay. I want to make sure I'm selecting the reflector device, reflector layer. Click, drag. We're going to resize it. Click, drag, resize it. Let's get a little bigger. Move it over here. Now, as you notice, as I was mentioning, this is the overlay. Take the reflector on the source, click, drag it underneath the overlay, and there you go.
Perfect.
There it is. It's lovely. This is so exciting. I love this stuff. I'm just geeking out here. So, front cam. Duplicate this again. Okay, we're going to call this overhead. All right? So now we've got the overhead cam. Now I'm going to change, click on the video capture device. This is the properties thing. You can see the little sprocket thing. Click on this. Now we're going to change the camera here. I think it's camera 2. Let's see. Yes, there we go. All right. So that's my overhead cam. Now I want to add a pedal cam. I've got another webcam on the floor. Let's go ahead and click over here. Video capture device again. Right. Again, you can name it anything you want. I think this is this cam over here. Yes, it is. There you go. And again, same thing. I want to try to crop this. Alt key hold. Click and drag the control thingy. Same thing here, Alt key hold, Alt key hold, Alt key hold. Now I can click, drag this up to the corner, click on, I'm not clicking the Alt key, I'm just clicking the regular thing. I can resize it that way, and there you go. So now, if everything's working, I should have my pedal cam here, okay? My head back. Of course, you can adjust your overhead cam as necessary. See my hands, see my pedaling at the same time. And what I was starting to explain is that you notice there's a bit of lag between the audio in the live mastermind session and the video you're seeing on OBS. This is an issue when streaming videos on YouTube and Facebook I've been finding. Again, I don't know if it's because of my internet connection, if it's just all the data that's being run around the poor computer is just working really, really hard to get all this together. So here's a secret tip for you. Go into the top menu, look for Edit, and then you'll find something called Advanced Audio Properties. Click on this. And this is where you're going to find what's called a sync offset in milliseconds. 1,000, it would mean that you would offset the audio by about 1 second. I have it set to 700 milliseconds. I'm experimenting with YouTube uploads, and it seems that between 600 and 700, at least for my internet connection, that seems to work best. And again, this number may have to vary depending on the speed of your internet connection. If you've got a faster connection, you do not need this. But I've been finding consistently that there seems to be some delay, some significant delay. So I'm going to be experimenting with 700 for my future productions, and we'll see. I might have to adjust this number. I tried it at 500, didn't quite work. 800 was too drastic. And then, of course, you can downmix to mono if you want, all right? So that's all good and set. You can leave it at stereo by unchecking this, all right? Adjust volumes as needed, okay? So there you have that. Now, how do I get this on Facebook Live? All right, let's start. We're going to have to go into some settings here. The first thing we're going to do is go into your Facebook page, all right? Now, the key thing to remember is that you're not going to be able to do this on your personal page. You need to set up a business page on Facebook. Now, fortunately, that's free, doesn't cost any extra money, but you have to have a business page. Once you do, look at publishing tools up here. Click on this. Sorry, there's so much going on in the internet, it's slowing everything down. Okay, here we go. And then on the left here, you see videos. Click on that. And then you're going to see live over here. Live. A little bit of. Click on live. And this is what's really critical. You need a stream key. See this over here in the bottom? Copy that. That's a secret code that you need to be able to stream your video on Facebook. Let's go back to OBS. go into settings. Now, there's a whole bunch of things we can talk about settings if people are interested, but for now, go into stream. Streaming services, okay? Oh, sorry. So we're looking, make sure the streaming service is selected. Now, if you don't see Facebook Live, you might want to click on Show All Services, which will show you all the options, lots of different services. Okay? OBS is primarily or most popularly used by video gamers who want to show their video games on these video channels, YouTube or whatever. It's pretty interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and select Facebook Live. The server is already selected. There's no, you don't have to change that. In the stream key, paste the stream key. Click OK. Now you're ready to go. Okay. What you do then, and I'm just going to go ahead and start streaming. Click on streaming. You see it's connecting. Some interesting information out down here. You can see your CPU usage. You know, right now it's 35.4%, about 30 frames per second. So it's not too bad. Okay. I'm going to go back into Facebook. Click on Next. Here,
what is CPU?
CPU is your computer's central processing unit. It's kind of the engine that regulates the speed of the computer. So the more processes you use, the more of the CPU's resources that are needed to be allocated to get the things done.
Okay.
So if that number gets too high, your computer is working too hard. And it can start to slow things down. You can say, oh, there's too much going on. I need to shut them or slow some things down to make things happen.
Okay.
So you want to just keep an eye on that. If things start to stutter and your CPU is over 50 or 60%, you know something's wrong. Maybe you have too many background applications. Maybe you have too many webcams going on. So you just, it's a number just to be aware of. It's a little bit like your engine. Okay, if your engine's running too hot, things can start to go wrong. Here was where you can add your title. Okay. So we'll just do demo of multi-cam live. Okay, add some tags if you want. You can go crazy with this. And once you're ready with your video, you can kind of go back to here. I can set this to my black screen over here. So that'll be the intro. I can go live. Click on this. As soon as you go live here, you're ready to go. You're streaming live. Now I can, what's interesting is when I click this, I can simply go to my down arrow keys. It'll show that intro. And I can click the down arrow key again. And you can see my front cam. Whoops, is this working correctly? Maybe not. So anyway, there's a lot going on here. Looks like I may have some things, some issues. Whoops. So I'm going to shut this off. I'm going to end the live video. But you can kind of see how this works. Once you're finished, click on End Live Video, hit End, and then it'll start processing that. I'm going to just go ahead and delete this for now, but that's the general procedure. Okay. Actions. Let's go ahead. So anytime you do a video, you can delete it as well. So don't feel like you're stuck with it. Okay. All right. For some reason, my video capture device got changed. Let me see if I can change this. Okay. There we go. So yeah, whatever. I think the naming nomenclature got confused. Let's go ahead and stop streaming. And you can see that there are all these different options. When you go into settings, this is where you can start to select different items. Output mode, you can do as simple or advanced. Video bitrate, you want to keep it around between 1500 and 3000, or say 2500 should be pretty good. Audio bitrate is too high. Should have changed this to 128. Recording format, change this to MP4. You can select your recording path where you want. So you can use this not only to stream, but also simply to record videos too. So sometimes if my internet connection is too slow, I'll just record the video and then upload it later. It's not live, but this can be used as a great recording software as well. Okay. There are some more advanced options you can look at as well. Okay. And you can play around with these as needed. All right. Audio is where you want to make sure you have 44.1 for Facebook Live. And then you can select different devices. So for example, here, I don't have it really connected right now. I have my M-Track connection, which can connect to my regular microphones. A whole bunch of other features here too. Here you can change your resolutions. And we can go into more details later as needed. But right out of the box, you'll be good just with the basic settings. And we can talk, and this may be an ongoing discussion in the forum as we discuss different ways to find the most optimized settings. I'm still experimenting. I'm still learning how to do this myself to find the best settings. So let me go back out of here. Let's go and see if I can find where is my Google Hangouts thing. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. All right. So there you have it. That's an in-depth look at Open Broadcaster software. And I think just some of the basic settings to go in Facebook Live, and you're ready to go. You know, it's quite remarkable. And like I said, there's a lot to discuss. And I want to encourage all the members, use the forum, ask questions. I'll be putting links to the tutorials that have helped me the most, links certainly to the equipment later on as soon as I have some time. I'll probably have to get to it over the weekend. I've got a packed weekend. It's crazy. Again, so I think hopefully whets your appetite, gets you excited about producing your own live video lessons. And again, you can also use this as a recording. I don't know if I skipped over really fast, but there's either start streaming or start recording. So you can make a recording of your video. And there's also an option to do both at the same time. We'll get to that in a future tutorial. And we can actually, I'm actually, what I'm thinking is that I might create an online course tutorial for musicians using OBS and offer that as a course in the future, because there's a lot to dig. I've run through this very quickly. There's a lot more details, particularly as you work through the buffering issues, the delay and lag issues, even lighting issues. You know, these cameras are very light sensitive, I'm noticing. So I've actually had my regular studio lights way back and turned away because they're just washing out the picture. So anyway, some things to consider there. But quick overview. Any questions from our one-person audience?
Yay! One of the questions that I had, one of the last things you just did about, like, it was the output, and you said play around with it. For someone who, like myself, has really no technical knowledge about what to play with and what it should be, would you recommend just kind of letting that be and asking questions in the forum?
Absolutely. You know, again, the reason it's something to play with is because it'll depend really on your computer. If your computer is fast enough, then two things: your computer speed and your internet speed. Okay. If your internet, you want to go to a site like speedtest.net. I think it's called speedtest.net. Google speed test, and you want to test the speed of your internet connection. It'll give you a hard number in terms of how many kilobits are uploading, what your upload speed is, what your download speed is. The critical number is the upload speed. So you want to make sure that your number is a little underneath that so that you have enough speed. So if it's not, if you have a slow speed, that number needs to be lower. I think. Somebody can correct me. So that's what I mean. It can be an experiment. And so even if I'm going to another location and shooting video, if their internet is not the same as mine, I may have to play with that number. So generally, you want to go between, from what I've heard on the internet, anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000, 2,500. I would recommend 1,500. What that means is that the picture quality would be a little lower, okay, but it'll stream faster. The higher the number, the better the picture quality, but obviously that means more data is being pumped through, and you might have jitters or lag or frames freezing up. And so that the higher bitrate numbers can be a little dangerous. If you really want the best quality, you need a really fast internet connection, and hopefully your computer can process everything that fast as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Great. Any other questions?
I got a little bit lost in the how to, once everything was set up, like all the screens and everything, how to get it to go to Facebook Live. I got the key part, but I looked away, and the actual, like, boom, now you're now you're Facebook streaming.
So let me show you really quickly. And the interesting thing about the Facebook streaming key, when you copy it and paste it into OBS, that key, I believe, is good for 5 hours. I can't remember the regulations. You can either set the key to be scheduled ahead of time, but once it's active, you have within 5 hours to go live. Okay. So you can get the key ahead of time. I like to get it right before. let's do this. Let's go back into OBS so I can show this to you really quickly one more time. So I'm happy to do it. So here we're in OBS. Can you see this okay? Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's just the one window.
Yeah, let's do this again. I did this wrong. Let me show the whole screen. Let's do it the right way. Okay, now you can see everything. All right. Let's go OBS. You go into settings. See this? Click on settings.
Yes.
Go into stream.
No, that's good.
Select Facebook
There,
Live.
yeah, got all that.
And then the only other thing you do is this is where you paste in your stream key right here. Paste that. Click OK. You're good to go. And that's basically it.
So once you hit OK, you're streaming live, or you're Facebook living. Like, how do you get it to actually be like, boom? Now we're actually on Facebook. Followers are watching. So
there's a couple steps. Number one, you click on Start Streaming over here. Okay, you see that button?
Right.
Start streaming first. All right, I'm actually going to, and then within Facebook Live, you'll see the option. You see a button option that says Go Live. Okay, so you need to start OBS streaming first. Okay, and then once the stream appear within Facebook, you'll see a preview window. Once you see your preview appear, then click on Go Live, and then go immediately back to your program, and then you can start setting your scenes and going. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So you can actually always watch this. If you have a link to this this particular live mastermind session, you should have received a link. If not, it's in the forum. You go to the forum, and the link to watch this again. You can be able to watch this live mastermind session anytime afterwards. Okay. So if there's something you missed, you can watch it again, take some notes, and hopefully, just rewind and rewatch again. But great question, and this is one of the trickiest things. YouTube, it's interesting, if you have your own YouTube channel, maybe we'll do a separate live mastermind session on YouTube live stream, because it's slightly different. You actually will have your own personal stream key for your YouTube channel. The thing that you remember is never give that key away, okay? But that's a permanent key that you can use, and you don't need to get new keys. With Facebook Live, you need a new key for every new live video you produce. So if I want to do another one, I have to go back to Facebook, go to that video page, go to the live video button, get a new key, and then re-input that into OBS.
Okay.
It's a little more of a pain in Facebook. In YouTube, you have one stream key for your account. You can use that forever. Just don't give it out. And then but I should show you one more thing. No, we'll share it next time. Okay, because there's so much to get into. I can create new profiles. So if I wanted to, I could create a YouTube profile, which has my stream key in it, and just use that profile. I could duplicate the profile and then have it for Facebook, so that I could have both profiles with the same camera and scene setups, but use the other one for Facebook Live. So I don't have to keep switching back and forth. That's another little bit of a time saver. So a lot of little tips and tricks there.
This was awesome. Yeah. I have so many more questions. I have tons of questions, but I don't know if it's like we're getting to the top of the hour, and I don't want to like.
Well, let's go ahead and cover it. So give me some more of your questions. What else? What else?
Well, something that you just said that just made me go, One of the people that I've been following on Facebook Live and YouTube is Grant Cardone, who's fantastic for any sort of, like, I want to say hustling, like sales. And I since this is my very first day in the mastermind, I don't know yet, but I would assume that there's discussion about how to sell oneself as a musician, how to sell oneself as an artist. And so I've gotten a lot from Grant Cardone. I've noticed that he does simultaneous YouTube and Facebook Live. And my brain just wondered, is that two separate setups, like almost two OBSs on two separate computers, or is it possibly done from the same thing?
That's a really good question. My suspicion.
Thank you. I thought so too.
It's an excellent question. My suspicion is that there are two computers running at the same time. The thing to check would be go back and forth between them if you can do this, and see if the camera angles are slightly different. I mean, he may be using a combination of video. I mean, this man can afford anything. So my suspicion would be he may be using a Wirecast. Maybe this is what $500 program can do. I don't know. I haven't tested. But maybe Wirecast would give you the ability to stream multiple services at once. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If that's important to you, then that might be worth $500. The ways that I could see doing it would be if you have an extra computer lying around, but then that's another set of cameras. It's almost worth it just to buy. Again, I'm not sure, but my suspicion is that he's using professional level streaming software that can do multiple sources. I'd have to research that. But great question.
Thank you. Probably because he actually has it set up. When he does it simultaneously, it's in like a TV studio. Mm. So he probably, does have whatever, like the multiple people running multiple things at once. Just for what I'm thinking about, like, what's the benefit of that as opposed to doing it one and then maybe uploading. Like there's so many questions, and like you're discovering, there's so much to play with, and there is no correct answer. It really is kind of how it goes. I have another question. So you've talked about the overlay being transparent. It looks like it's somewhat, it's not like clearly not like 100% transparent. Like, is there, and how did you make that? Was that a Fiverr thing, or is that something you created yourself?
That's something I created myself, and that's a great question. And again, I think it's something where we might have to create another live mastermind session to kind of go into that. It's such a useful tool. So what I recommend is, if you don't have the Adobe Creative Suite, because what I did with that, I created an overlay in a program called Illustrator, which is a graphics program. But if you don't want to spend $50 a month for a subscription to Adobe Creative Suite, get GIMP, G-I-M-P. It's an open source art program that you can do the same things in it. Either GIMP, Inkscape is another one. Inkscape is another open source. In fact, I would probably recommend Inkscape for you. Inkscape is equivalent to Adobe's Illustrator program, whereas GIMP is more closely related to Photoshop. Okay, you can get both.
Canva just came to mind.
Canva, I'm not sure.
I think you can do something transparent-ish on Canva. I don't know. I'd have to play with it.
Yeah, I have to play with that too. I haven't played with that enough. I know there are transparencies in terms of what you end up with, but the picture can be. I'm not sure. So you might want to experiment with that. But if you want full control of the graphics that you're going to work with and everything, then Inkscape may be a great place to start. That's actually the first graphics program I used when I started the AirTurn. Designing my first box, I used Inkscape, and then. I actually produced a commercial box with that program. It's pretty interesting. Limited. The funny thing is, the more you spend time with these professional level graphics programs, you start to realize open source is great. It is limited, and it's not as clean or as powerful. But hey, if you're on a budget and you just want to get started, those are great tools, and they'll work really, really well. So I think, and I can see, I'm almost imagining now, thanks to your questions, that I really take a lot of these programs that I use kind of for granted because I use them so much, they're like second nature.
Yes.
And forget that these are tools that I'd be more than happy to teach if there are other members that would like me to go over them.
Absolutely. I think there's like you're clearly brilliant with tech stuff. Like just what you've been able to do in an hour here, it just the bada bing, bada bing, bada bing. I think that there's a real value in a market here within the mastermind and maybe even beyond for like a 101 or like a kind of ground level marketing with like graphics, like just like basics, or like how to set up things on Facebook, or like like just whether it's a video or like I don't know, but just I do think that there's tremendous value for the artists and musicians here.
Sure. Really, thank you so much. Any other, maybe one closing question, perhaps? Is there anything else that's on your mind?
I think I'm actually clear as far as questions. Yeah, this was incredibly valuable. Incredibly valuable.
But I think you can see why this is so much more powerful than just using a smartphone for your Facebook Live video. Now. You have cameras of all different angles, all different positions. either to stream a concert and make it look, more professional, or stream a lesson, have different applications come in. I mean, the possibilities are just amazing. And again, the thing that gets me really excited, since I've done kind of heavy duty, video production, I don't have to sit down after I shoot to put all the files together, manually cut, manually edit, manually render. This is done. Once I shoot, it's a finished product. I can just walk away and work on the next thing. Incredible time saving. So it's really worth learning. I mean, we talked about Facebook, but I actually do most of my streaming usually in YouTube. And I like this with YouTube. I like it because I can it's more for video creation than for live content. Live content is when you want to get your audience right in the room for a concert. But if I'm just making a promo video, I don't need everybody to watch me making the promo video. If I make a mistake, I want to reshoot, I love using YouTube as kind of my receptacle for my video projects that I create using OBS Studio as my creation tool, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think something really valuable that shouldn't get overstepped in saying is that things go so fast that, like, by the time most people get good at something, it's already played out. So what you have right now, what you're offering us, is kind of being ahead of the curve with something on Facebook, which is so rare, because you're the only person I see on Facebook, whether it's like, an individual or a business, that has like the overlay with your Facebook Live videos. And it's a way to really distinguish yourself and make yourself distinct, and that you do have an edge. And that is so important, because things get overplayed so quickly and saturated so quickly. And the distinction that you just brought up between Facebook Live and YouTube, I'm pretty sure you can't, unless, I know I've done so far all of my Facebook Live videos on my phone. And so I'm excited to play with on my computer, although my computer's about 4 years old. So I'm looking to get a new one for 2017.
But you have multiple cams. And so if it's a single cam, it should be just fine. But you can still use OBS Studio. And I think for you, in your case, even if it's just your computer's cam, having an overlay just in and of itself is awesome. Let's say you have a PowerPoint presentation that you want to show. So the next you could switch to would be the application scene for your PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever. Yeah, brilliant. How about that?
Brilliant. With YouTube streaming, or YouTube, using this to record something and then posting it on YouTube, there is a permanency, which then you can use as like an SEO, because Google and YouTube are tied. So one of the things that I've started learning about is keywords and keyword searching. And one of the on my SEPTA ride home today, on my train ride home, I was like learning about Google keywords and ads and all this stuff. And so I think that there's something really valuable for artists, especially if there's like a specific piece of music that someone is good at, or like are singing a song or playing something that is popular, how to get it. So if someone is, looking for Adele's Hello, for example, just popped in my head, and you have like a really good like cello version of it, that like your thing comes up in the top 5, top 3, like what does it take to do that? YouTube does that. Facebook, you can actually on the public page, on the business page you were talking about, not with the profile, you can go back and edit your title so that it's keyword rich, so that, because Facebook on the public pages is searchable, whereas on the if it's just your profile, your friend page, it's not searchable with Google. So that's a differentiation also, as far as how to have people find your content with this, the live streaming and Facebook Live versus YouTube versus what you will.
Thank you.
This is awesome.
Well, thank you so much for bringing that clarification in terms of why you need more than just your personal profile. You do need a business page for your. Oh
my gosh, yes.
Absolutely critical. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now you kind of now we're going to continue this series.
I know.
Live mastermind sessions.
It's like 5,000. You can max out at 5,000 people on your Facebook page, on your profile. But there's 1 billion people on Facebook on that you can access to. So it's like, even though like there's a warm comfort zone, it's like a nice yummy blanket of like, oh, these people know me, it's my friends and family. Are they marketing for you? Are they sharing your stuff? Are they buying your concert tickets? Are they, you know, or is it just feel good likes and comments, but it's really not furthering you as an artist and it's not paying your rent?
Right, and the critical thing is that the personal page is, only, as you mentioned, only allow 5,000 friends. That's purposely to tell you, because you know I think the Musical Live business page is up to about 12,000, 14,000, can't remember. You know, so that's the place where you can really grow. There's no limit to the number of people that can like your business page. So that's why it's, you know, it makes sense that your live videos would be a business tool. So that's why it's so important to have that.
And Facebook Live is where Facebook really wants everybody who has something to sell to go onto a public page, to a business page. They want you to spend, you know, money on Facebook advertising, but they make it really easy for you to sell things, to sell tickets, to drive traffic somewhere.
Sorry, I've got my son calling. I'm gonna end the call right now so I can call him back. Okay.
Okay.
So let's close off for now. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you found this helpful. I'm so excited to continue the discussion in our next live mastermind sessions. Okay. Take care and good night.